eat it all the time, but have you ever wondered how rice actually goes from muddy fields to your plate? It's not just scooped out of a sack. It goes through some seriously intense machinery, with every grain cleaned, hulled, polished, and sorted with insane precision. Stick around, this process is way cooler than you think. Before rice ever sees a factory floor, it starts in a flooded field, hot, sticky, and full of life. Picture row after row of waist-high plants swaying in the breeze, each one packed with promise. Farmers wait for the right moment when the stalks are dry and golden before rolling in with combine harvesters, massive machines that cut, thresh, and gather the grain all at once. It's fast, it's loud, and it's kind of beautiful in that gritty, agricultural way. But let's be clear, what's harvested here isn't the neat white stuff in your kitchen. It's called paddy rice, and it's wild. Every grain is still wrapped in a tough husk, and it's tangled up with broken stalks, loose leaves, dirt, pebbles, maybe even the odd insect. It's raw, rough, totally unrefined, and yet that's the good stuff. That's the starting line for everything that happens next. So the rice gets loaded into sacks or bulk bins, then trucked over to the factory. And it's here, behind the industrial gates and metal doors, where paddy rice begins its transformation into the polished staple that feeds billions. What happens next? It's loud, it's technical, and honestly, it's kind of mesmerizing. The first thing the factory does? It cleans house, literally. Paddy rice rolls in, and right away it's sent through a battery of machines designed to sort the useful from the useless. And no, this isn't some gentle rinse. It's industrial filtration on steroids. Imagine conveyor belts humming under vibrating screens, pulling out chunks of stalks and bits of gravel. There are air suction systems that blast away lighter materials, things like husk fragments and dried leaves. Magnets snag any bits of metal that may have hitched a ride during harvesting. It's not just about neatness, it's about protecting the expensive equipment further down the line. One rock in the wrong place? You're talking broken gears, ruined belts, shutdowns that cost serious money. The entire cleaning stage is one big act of preparation. No grain gets milled, dehusked, or polished if it hasn't passed this first round. And factories take it seriously. Some operations even run quality checks during cleaning, tweaking airflow or adjusting screen sizes in real time based on the batch they're working with. It's fast, it's fine-tuned, it's way more advanced than most people realize. By the time the rice leaves this stage, it still looks pretty rustic, but now it's ready to be worked with. No more stones, no more straw, just tightly packed grains waiting for their next reveal. Now we're getting to the good stuff. With the debris cleared out, it's time to strip away the rice's outer armor, the husk. It's like a natural shell, paper thin, but seriously tough. You can't chew through it. You definitely can't cook with it. And it does a great job in protecting the grain. But now, its job is done. Dehusking machines step in here, usually rubber roller hullers or similar tech. And what they do is surprisingly delicate. They grip the grain just enough to crack and peel off the husk without crushing what's inside. Imagine trying to shell a peanut with your fingertips without snapping the nut. It's that kind of finesse, only at scale, thousands of grains per minute moving across rollers, pressure calibrated down to the decimal. The result is brown rice, grain with the husk removed, but still wrapped in a thin, nutritious layer called bran. It's earthy, chewy, and packed with fiber, which is why it shows up in every health food aisle. And, for some, this is the finish line. This is the rice they want. But in most cases, factories are just getting warmed up, because for a lot of people, rice isn't rice until it's white, glossy, and perfectly uniform. The next step? It's where the grain gets polished, literally. But first, every husk must fall. Alright, so the husk is gone. What you've got now is brown rice. Still a little rough around the edges, still carrying its bran layer, which gives it that nutty flavor and slightly chewy texture. But for most of the global market, that's not the final form. People want that clean, pearly white look, which means it's time to mill. Milling is basically a super-controlled polishing process. The rice passes through a series of abrasive or friction-based machines that gently rub off the bran and germ without damaging the core of the grain. Sounds simple, but it's anything but. The challenge here is balance. Strip too much and you risk breaking the grain or losing quality. Go too soft and you leave behind residue that messes with shelf life and cooking consistency. What's wild is how fast this happens. Picture thousands of grains sliding through these machines every second. Their surfaces smoothed down like the river stones over time. Except here, the whole thing takes minutes, not years. Some factories even run the rice through multiple passes to get that perfect finish. Silky, uniform, almost glowing. And if you're thinking, doesn't that strip away nutrients? Well, yeah, it can. Which is why many producers enrich the rice afterward with iron, B vitamins, and other nutrients lost in the polishing process. Either way, milling is the moment the rice takes on its familiar look. But looks alone don't cut it. Not yet. There's one more hurdle before this rice can call itself ready. So the rice is white, polished, and looking clean. But is every grain good enough to make the cut? Not quite. Now it's time for sorting and grading. And this stage? It's basically quality control with zero room for error. First, you've got length grading, which separates the full grains from the broken ones. Think of it like a backstage check before a fashion show. Only the best dressed grains get through. Broken bits don't always go to waste, by the way. Some are bagged and sold for industrial use or turned into rice flour, but they're not what most people want in their dinner. Next comes the color sorter, and this machine is something else. It uses high-speed cameras and infrared sensors to inspect every single grain as it moves down the line. If one grain is discolored, has a black spot, or just looks off, bam, a puff of air shoots it out of the stream. It's ruthless, but also necessary, because when you're promising a premium product, consistency matters. You don't want to pour out a bag at home and spot something weird in the mix. Some factories even grade by type, classifying grains based on shape, texture, and aroma. Jasmine, basmati, long grain, short grain, you name it. Each variety has its own ideal specs, and anything that doesn't match gets rerouted. It's obsessive, it's automated, and it's incredibly fast. By the time the rice finishes this step, it's not just edible, it's shelf-ready. All that's left? Sealing the deal. Once the rice passes inspection, it heads to the final stage, packing. And this is where the factory shows off its efficiency. Picture sleek conveyor lines moving in rhythm, bags puffing open, rice flowing in, heat-sealed edges snapping shut. It's a factory dance routine, fine-tuned to the second. Each pack is measured down to the gram using computerized scales. No guesswork. Whether it's a tiny 500-gram pouch or a bulky 25-kilogram sack, the system knows exactly how much goes in. Bags are sealed airtight, often nitrogen flushed to extend shelf life and prevent spoilage. And then, a label, a batch code, a barcode. That's it. It's official. That bag of rice is now ready to ship. And from there, it moves fast. Pallets are stacked and shrink-wrapped. Forklifts shuttle them to waiting trucks. In just a few days, that rice could be sitting on a supermarket shelf in a city halfway across the world, or in a restaurant kitchen, or on a shelf in your pantry, waiting to hit the rice cooker. What started as muddy, unrefined grain in a distant paddy field is now a clean, reliable staple you don't even think twice about. It's kinda crazy, really, how much precision and power goes into something we scoop by the cup. But that's the story of rice. Quiet, resilient, and always ready to serve. It's wild to think something as ordinary as a grain of rice goes through this much precision, speed, and sorting just to end up on a dinner plate. But once you've seen what really happens behind factory walls, ordinary doesn't quite hit the same. And the deeper you go, the more you start to realize there's a whole world hidden in plain sight, built on the quiet power of machines doing what they do best.